All right, this is like attempt number 3. Hello everyone. So, while I was like laid up sick with a stomach virus plus cold plus fever plus really bad period, I was watching a bunch of Twilight movies, and Twilight has always been kind of like comfort watches for me. And I was watching the 3rd movie, Eclipse, really bad wig, that's that one. And in the part where the Volturi come after the big battle, Dakota Fanning's character comes, and her makeup's a little different than it has been in other parts of the other movies. And what I found really interesting was, if you can see here, maybe, that dark blue shadow on the outer corner there doesn't really extend all the way out to the corner of her eye. And I thought, you know, that is something that would work on my eye shape, because my eyes are a little bit downturned, they're kind of rounded, and they're also hooded. So I'm not sure I'm gonna do this whole situation, but maybe. So anyway, so I thought I'd just do that today for something fun, because I felt like putting some makeup on my face while I was talking. So I already put some base on because I tried to record this before, and forgot that I had used my camera to take pictures of the moon, so I had changed all my settings on the camera. I'm thinking I'm probably, hopefully, going to be able to use these Temptalia Sydney Grace palettes. So I think I'm going to use the gray shades out of here. I'm going to put this Parallax, which is the light gray, and then probably that more mid-toned gray reaching zenith in the crease. Oh, I was going to keep it. Okay, don't get too enthusiastic with the crease here. I've got a goal in mind, not just slap the makeup on willy-nilly. I don't know, it almost looks like this kind of more tealy colored color, but like with a darker base. She's also got some black liner. Just a little bit up into her crease. Sometimes it can be hard to figure out because like so much lid space that gets sucked up. Now I gotta figure out like what else I'm gonna do. She does have a little bit like kind of grayish, blackish shadow out on the edge. Might try just a little bit of this deep blue, the Midnight Courage. So is this from a different palette. This is from On the Horizon Dark. I'm taking the Flying High shade here, and then Midnight Courage is the matte blue. Look at that. So pretty. I'll do this Celestial Bloom, though that might be kind of purpley. We'll see what happens when I put it on top of that more teal-y color. Now hers looks more green. Ah! If I can see how far in that color goes, if I need to pull it over further. Pull that over to the crease a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the gray, just so it doesn't look too blue. That mid-toned gray. I'm gonna put on Tight Line. This is a black opal pencil, which I find works pretty well on my waterline. It's the Precision Eye Definer in Blackout. BLK Out. Her and that pain move.
Why did you come?
Oh, you're a nice lady. Might put a little black in the crease. Just a smidge. Oh, I totally forgot. Oat Milk Makeup also did a Volturi look, which is probably what got me especially paying attention to Dakota Fanning's makeup in this movie. I feel like I should be able to find something in this Physicians Formula Warm Nudes palette. Maybe like this shade up here. Just enough to get like something on there. Okay, and so now I'm gonna just do eyeliner and see how things are looking. So she doesn't have a wing or anything. I don't wear a ton of like lid eyeliner. because it's really easy to go too thick and end up like up in my crease. What I did was just add the liner, and then I just tried to kind of darken up the crease, bring the color over a little further, just trying to generally get something a little bit closer to what it seemed like she had on screen. Ooh, I should have tapped off my brush before I went in. And I also took this matte kind of teal color, Interstellar. I put that over the top. Just trying to bring up a little bit more of that green tone. And then also with the black, just going in around the top. And then I also kind of cleaned up with a little paper towel at the edge, because of course I went a little too far. Gonna do that with this one too. And she had a tiny bit in the corner here, like going down to the lower lash line, but just on the very corner. And then it seemed like her lower lash line was just like powder maybe. So her bottom lash line was pretty subtle, I guess, compared to the top. I'm gonna use like a more of a corrector shade underneath my eyes, just so, especially because I've got inevitably some like of the blue green fallout. I'm gonna use this Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealer. It's in light ivory, which is a bit more of a corrector shade for me. All right, I think I might get a brush to go in there. See if I can keep a little bit more coverage. For foundation, I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Fresh Wear in 390 Snow. So that's the newer shade. It is not hugely lighter than 400 Pearl, but it is a little bit lighter. And I like to apply this with my fingers. It does have a scent. I'm gonna set under my eyes with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I could probably go without setting this, maybe, just because my skin was not like really moist. But I'm gonna put a little bit of the Hourglass Diffused Light powder on, which is shimmery. But I'm not gonna like pack it on. But it doesn't really look like she has any sort of like cheek stuff on. I might just add like a light contour just to add a little shape back into my face, since it's like, I'll go old school with the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder. Lower lash line, I'm just going to go in with that kind of mid-tone gray and maybe the black a little bit, just very, very small amount, just kind of setting that right below the waterline area. So for brows, she has like more warm brown brows to go with her blonde hair. So I'm just gonna go with like a neutral brown. I'm gonna mix this Taupe and Raven from Billion Dollar Beauty Billion Dollar Brows, and a little brow gel because her brow hairs seem to be pretty defined. This is the Beautifully Bare Sheer Brow Tint or something like that from e.l.f. Mine is a little old and clumpy. Alright, mascara. She has a lot of mascara on. Probably floss lashes. This is, what is this? It's a sample, obviously, of Monsieur big from Lancome. Slop on a lot of mascara at once. And then she does have a little bit, it looks like, of lower lash mascara. I feel like her lower lash line actually is a little more defined than mine is at the moment. So I'm just gonna put a little bit more down there. I think I might just go in with the black. Just try to be light hand. Take a light hand. Hers kind of goes all the way into the inner corner. Like literally the whole way around. Reminds me of Steph from Bake Off. That was the season I was watching. She's always got that liner and she has such pretty eyes. Precious. Okay, last thing really is lipstick. And she's got a very like cool purple Bites Gelato. If you have it, and it's really old. Elf's Tea Rose in this and that. I'm gonna try the Bite Multistick because I think that's one that you can still get, perhaps. It seems like the very inside of her mouth is not. Ooh, hers is darker. Super, super random. This is an old Colourpop pencil in Marshmallow. You could also use MAC Stone, which is just like a gray taupe. I think I'm gonna go over again with the Multistick. Why is there a piece of glitter? Like right there. Where did that even come from? Alright, so am I looking vaguely dead? So anyway, to make it a little bit more wearable, I did add a little blush, the Too Faced Baby Love blush, and I also put some lipstick over the top. This is Viva Glam 6, I think, this luster, just to make it a little more lively. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have seen the Twilight movies. I don't even know. What can I ask right now? I don't know. Did you do any fun makeup for Halloween? Let's go with that since this is vaguely Halloween related. Did you do anything for Halloween? I had a kid that was sick with a stomach bug, so I was just hanging out with him.